Hello there everybody, and welcome back to another live video here on my YouTube. For this video that I'm going to be doing, it's going to be a review. I've been watching this recently and I figure I would like to do a review of this. It's a classic WWF pay-per-view, WWF that is, not WWE. Hey Austin, thanks for joining. It's from 1994, and it's the Royal Rumble, the 1994 Royal Rumble. This is the VHS cover I have. I don't have it in here because I've been watching it. And this is the back that's featured. A lot of great wrestlers and stuff, as you see. Yep. I got this on Amazon, by the way, for about $16, $18, something like that. Because some of these things can go for a good amount of money sometimes. I think the cheapest one I paid for a WWF tape, probably about $8 or so. I don't really know exactly how much. Alright, anyway, so this event was held. That's good, the Indians are winning. This event was held in Providence, Rhode Island, 1994, of course, in January. And the commentators are Vince McMahon and Ted DiBiase, surprisingly, because usually it's Vince McMahon and Jerry the King Lawler. Jim Ross was doing commentary at that time, but he was only in one of the matches where he did commentary along with Gorilla Monsoon, which I'll get to in a minute. And so the event begins with Vince McMahon telling the events for tonight, then the introduction of Ted DiBiase to be Vince McMahon's partner for the commentary. Much to Vince's delight, he thought it was going to be somebody else or whoever. Now, our first opening match is the Native American Tatanka against Bam Bam Bigelow, along with Luna Vachon, and may they both rest in peace. As a lot of these people, in this event have either passed away, are not wrestling anymore, just retired, or make occasional appearances. Some maybe even be in TNA or whatever they are, or I don't know. I have to look at the whole entire list here of these people, where exactly they are. But we'll see. Anyway, so the first match begins with Tatanka and Bam Bam Bigelow, and this was a good opening matchup. Tatanka does a whole lot of moves in this, and Bam Bam Bigelow basically goes for a moonsault and misses, and Tatanka winds up getting the win over him with some kind of move that he does. Very good, solid opening match. A good 3.5 out of 5 for that match, because this was a very good opening matchup, like I said, between a face and a heel. Very good opening matchup. Yep. Now our next matchup is now building up to the next one. The WWF Tag Team Champions, the Quebecers, any way you want to call it, Jacques and Pierre, defending their titles against the Hart brothers, Bret and Owen Hart. Now, we go back to the 1993 Survivor Series, in which Bret and Owen were tag team partners along with a couple other people against Shawn Michaels and his Knights, because it originally was supposed to be other people that Shawn Michaels was supposed to have or whatever, but I forgot exactly. So going back to that, there was a little thing with Owen and Bret when Owen was hit and Bret fell into the area there, and Owen is blaming Bret for what happened. So Owen does a promo and says that he wants a matchup against Bret. Bret does one too and says that he will not wrestle his own brother. So now Bret and Owen have solved their differences and are now on the same page and all that, and now there's a matchup with the 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty teaming up against they teamed up against the Quebecers, I think, and yes, Owen Hart did pass away, unfortunately, in 1999 at Over the Edge. Anyway, Marty Jannetty and the 1-2-3 Kid won the tag team titles from the Quebecers, but a week or so later, that's what happens, and then the next, a week or so, maybe after that, the Quebecers wound up winning the titles back from the 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty at Madison Square Garden, and they're the new champions, and that sets up the matchup for these two at the Royal Rumble. So, as it begins, Bret and Owen are are treated to a huge pop from the crowd. Of course, nothing for the Quebecers, because the odds-on favorite looked like for sure that would be Bret and Owen. But however, in the matchup, this match was going really well until later in the matchup when Bret takes a fall from Johnny Polo, who pulls the ropes, and he falls out and has a supposedly injury, but I think it's just the way it is. He is in a lot of pain and all that, and Owen is trying to get him to get back in the ring and continue the match, and he is waiting for Bret Hart to tag him to get him into the ring, but he cannot get to him, and the referee, Tim White, winds up stopping the whole matchup because of Bret's injury and all that. So basically he just stopped the match because of the fact that everything that was going on. There was no time limit, I don't think, or anything like that. He just stopped the matchup because of Bret in so much pain. So Owen, all mad and frustrated, takes out his anger on Bret and just is mad at him and keeps telling him, "You should have tagged me in," and all that. And out of his frustration, he kicks Bret Hart in his injured leg down to the ground. And that's basically how it is. This was a very good matchup that was going well, and then all of a sudden it turns into that. But I still give this matchup a 3 out of 5 because actually make it 3.5 out of 5. I mean, it was better than the Tatanka and Bam Bam Bigelow matchup, but really it should have been the Hart brothers, Bret and Owen, that should have won it. But this built up their rivalry that started off, you know, and then Bret is pretty much helped out of the ring and taken back to the locker room and doesn't know if he's going to be able to compete in the Royal Rumble, and that turns Owen Hart heel in the process. Now our next matchup is the Intercontinental Championship match between the challenger, IRS, Erwin R. Shyster, and the Intercontinental Champion, as Howard Finkel says it because I think it's cool, the bad guy, Razor Ramon. Yeah. So this was a pretty decent matchup. The match ended pretty much on a strange note, pretty much. This is what happened. Shawn Michaels came in and interfered and tried to cost Razor Ramon the Intercontinental Championship, which he did in the process. He hit Ramon with like a belt or something, or whatever he hit him with, and IRS goes in for the count and covers him 1, 2, 3 and gets the victory and is the new Intercontinental Champion. And the commentary, by the way, was by Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon. So there you go, because I said Jim Ross only called one matchup. So that gives supposedly IRS the victory, but Earl Hebner comes in and tells him that it's not the right belt or something. So Razor Ramon takes IRS, who is on the top rope, celebrating in victory, and puts him in the Razor's Edge and pins him 1, 2, 3 and remains champion. And now he has 2 belts in the process, and that would build up Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels matchup, which would have to be another video. And that's basically the end of that matchup. But even though this had a little bit of a strange ending, as it said, but it was still not really that bad of a matchup. But I give it a 2.5 out of 5 just because of the ending and all that. But it was a solid matchup, but the ending was just a little strange. But there you go. And now that brings us to our championship matchup, which, in my opinion, I'm going to say this should have been the main event. This should have. That is, it even says here on the video right here, it says, right here on the top, I don't know if you can see it, it says, main event for the WWF Championship. It has it listed right on the top. And that is, of course, The Undertaker against Yokozuna for the World Wrestling Federation Championship in a casket match. This goes all the way back to the Survivor Series 1993, in which Yokozuna gave The Undertaker the bonsai drop, and The Undertaker sat right up a bunch of times, and that would build up their matchup for them against each other at the Royal Rumble in a casket match, in which The Undertaker decided to do. He has been undefeated in casket matches. He had faced Kamala in one of them at the 92 Survivor Series, I believe. So now, that just sets up this matchup with all these promos with The Undertaker making his casket, and Yokozuna as well. So Yokozuna makes his entrance, is of course greeted to a round of boos. The Undertaker comes to a huge pop from the crowd, possibly the second biggest pop of the night, because I think the biggest one was Brett and Owen's pop that they got, again, in their matchup. So the Undertaker squares off against Yokozuna, has a quick stare down with him. The Undertaker looking like he is going to put Yokozuna away in the casket, but all of a sudden here comes Crush, a heel wrestler, and attacks the Undertaker and several other superstars, including Diesel, Jeff Jarrett, two of the Head Shrinkers, I'm trying to think like who else exists. Bam Bam Bigelow and a few others. More than like 8 superstars supposedly attacking the Undertaker. And there's a story behind this, why the Undertaker exactly, what happened in this matchup. So the Undertaker still trying to fight off every single superstar, and Paul Bearer is trying to help him with the urn, like to get him to fight off every one of the superstars. Winds up losing the urn from Yokozuna, and Yokozuna takes the lid off of the urn, and out comes this green smoke from it, and that causes the Undertaker to lose his strength and all that, and the Undertaker is just placed into the casket, and the lid is shut, and Yokozuna wins the matchup, and is taken and takes the thing away. They're taking the casket away, but all of a sudden the gong sounds off, and there's green smoke coming out of the casket, and the lights go out, and the Undertaker appears on the Jumbotron and says that he would return. And as everything goes black again, there's this person like coming up out of the screen on the Jumbotron and just goes straight up. Paul Bearer, still with the urn, just knows that he will be back and just takes the casket all the way back. But here's the thing. The Undertaker had a back injury, which was getting worse, they said, and he needed time off to heal from it. And as for this matchup, I give this a 3.5, as I was really looking forward to this event, or this matchup. I thought for sure The Undertaker was the odds-on favorite to win, but had it not been for the back injury for him, he would have at least won this matchup. But because of everybody interfering and all that, and doing this promo and stuff for him to return, and there you go. So that's it for that, and now we move on to the last one, and like I said, I'll get to it in a second. Now we get on to our main event, the 1994 Royal Rumble matchup, featuring 30 superstars, including the Native American Tatanka, Bret Hart, Diesel, Shawn Michaels, Doink, the Clown Crush, Owen Hart, Kamala, and actually Kamala was not in the... Wait a minute, yes, I think he was in the Royal Rumble. Bob Backlund, the model Rick Martel. The person that was really pretty much the longest in the Rumble, I believe, were Shawn Michaels and Diesel. Diesel came in at like number 7 or whatever number he was, and eliminated so many superstars and was doing so great until Mabel comes in, the biggest competitor, and then Diesel winds up getting eliminated. He had been there in the Rumble for about 10 minutes or so. The Rumble started with both Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott, and that makes them square off, and then Quang comes in, who we later would know as Savio Vega, and that would be that. And then Diesel comes in and cleans house, and Shawn Michaels comes in looking like the two are going to fight, but instead it winds up just being they wind up being friends, but later Diesel would get eliminated, and then another favorite, Lex Luger, comes in, and he winds up cleaning house too. One person did not compete in the Rumble, and that was Bastion Booger. He was supposed to come in, but Vince McMahon said that must be Bret Hart. But really, it was supposed to be Bastion Booger, but he could not compete, I think, due to an injury or something. So now Bret Hart does wind up coming into the Rumble at like 21 or 22, one of the numbers, still with his injury, but later winds up continuing in the matchup, and there you are. Now we're down to just the two that I'll get to, and that is Lex Luger and Bret Hart. Now, Lex Luger was pretty much the favorite, I think, to win, but then Bret Hart as well, because of his little rivalry now with Owen Hart. The two wind up battling it out and go over to the rope, and both of them are eliminated, and both of their feet hit the floor as well, but the question is, like, who was eliminated first? The referees argue and argue over about who was eliminated, but they have no idea who it was, so President Jack Tunney comes out and announces that both of them are the winners of the Rumble, and both of them will compete for the championship at WrestleMania 10. Now, for this Rumble, I mean, this one was pretty good and stuff. There was a lot of great people in there, a lot of wrestlers, like, if I can go through, like, a lot of these people, like, what some of these people are doing and stuff, like, Jeff Jarrett, he was part of TNA and stuff. I don't think he's doing that anymore now. Lex Luger is retired from wrestling. He's not really doing anything. Doink the Clown has passed away. Bam Bam Bigelow has passed away. Bastion Booger has passed. Marty Jannetty is, like, probably doing his own thing. I really don't know exactly. I don't really keep in touch. Bob Backlund is retired. Rick Martel is retired. Mabel has passed away. And Mo as well, or whatever. Rick and Scott Steiner. I think Rick is retired. I don't know about Scott. Billy and Bart Gunn. Well, Billy was later part of the famous tag team, the New Age Outlaws, and Bart Gunn took up boxing as well, and I think he's retired too, or maybe semi-retired from wrestling. Tatanka probably wrestles occasionally, but I don't know. Ludwig Borga, who I think was supposed to be in the Rumble. I don't know if he was in there. I think he's passed. Bret Hart is retired. I already mentioned about Owen. He's passed. Shawn Michaels is retired. Crush has passed away. Diesel is retired. Kamala, I think, is retired. I don't know. Adam Bomb, I think, is retired, but I don't know. Randy Savage has passed away. Another person that was in the Rumble and maybe a favorite to win, but yeah. The 1-2-3 Kid is retired now, later known as X-Pac. And there you go. I mean, that's... And Savio Vega is pretty much retired. And that's like a lot of the people in the Rumble. And as for the Rumble, I give this a 3 out of 5. Now, I wasn't thrilled with the ending because I thought it was going to be either Lex Luger or Bret Hart to be the winner. But instead, both of them are eliminated, and they have two of them face for the championship at WrestleMania 10, and there you go. And as for the whole pay-per-view, out of a 10 rating, my rating on this is a 7.5 out of 10. I give that number because this was a good pay-per-view, but although the main event should have been The Undertaker against Yokozuna in the casket match for the championship, but instead it was the Royal Rumble. In my opinion, the championship match was a little bit better than the Rumble. But the Rumble, you know, was pretty good, but I still think it should have been Undertaker against Yokozuna. Yep, but like I said, it is a pretty good pay-per-view. I do always like the Royal Rumbles, but there you go. So that is going to wrap it up here for my review of the 1994 Royal Rumble. So again, 7.5 out of 10. And as for the matchups, I said before, there you go. So if you like this episode, hit the like button if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't, and please do, because it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And comment if you have like an opinion about this, like if you want to give your matches and stuff, like what you think personally of it and all that. And yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching this. Enjoy, and you all take care. And thank you again for watching. Enjoy.